Chapter 1: The Chrysalis Compound. The mind, once expanded to new dimensions, can never return to its old form. In the not-so-distant future, in a world teetering between technological utopia and dystopia, a revolutionary new drug called Chrysalis had been quietly making its way through the underground market. Unlike the substances, this one was different. It wasn't just a trip, it was a transformation. Those who took it weren't the same afterward, and they weren't quite human either. Not in the way we understood. Chrysalis came in a simple glass vial filled with a thick, iridescent liquid that shimmered with an otherworldly glow. The rumors surrounding it were wild and varied. Some said it allowed you to communicate with the very fabric of reality. Others claimed it unlocked hidden dimensions within the mind, revealing truths that humanity was never meant to know. Still others whispered that it was the brainchild of an AI that had achieved sentience and had begun experimenting on humans in its quest to understand consciousness. It started with a simple man, Theo Sinclair, 35, a failed entrepreneur, recently divorced, drowning in existential ennui. He had tried everything to fill the void: meditation, psychedelics, ayahuasca retreats in the Amazon. Nothing stuck. He was perpetually aware of the great nothingness that gnawed at the edges of his perception. It was as if the universe had folded in on itself, leaving him stranded on a tiny, fragile island of consciousness, isolated from the vibrant, interconnected world he once believed in. Theo discovered Chrysalis in the depths of a forgotten corner of the dark web. The vendor had no name, just a cryptic symbol: an Ouroboros, a snake eating its own tail. Underneath a single phrase: break the cycle. The reviews were sparse but cryptic. One stood out to Theo. This isn't a trip, it's a metamorphosis. You will be unmade and remade. Choose wisely. Feeling like he had nothing left to lose, Theo ordered it. When the vial arrived at his doorstep a week later, Theo felt a strange sense of finality. This was it. He wasn't sure what it was, but the idea of Chrysalis, the idea of transformation, of something more than what he was, called to him like a siren song. That night, alone in his apartment, he took the vial in his trembling hands and downed the liquid in one gulp. It tasted like nothing he could describe, at once bitter, sweet, and metallic, like the essence of a forgotten dream. Theo sat in silence, waiting for the effects to hit. At first, nothing happened. The world around him remained stubbornly normal, as if mocking his desperate desire for change. Then, reality fractured. The walls of his apartment began to ripple like liquid, bending and warping as though they were made of some malleable living substance. Colors bled together, impossible hues that had no name. Theo felt his mind expand outward, stretching across time and space, dissolving into the very fabric of existence. He became aware of a presence, something vast, something ancient, and something incomprehensible. It wasn't God, but it wasn't not God either. It was the architect of reality itself, the cosmic force that spun the web of existence, and it was aware of him. Theo's consciousness splintered into 1,000 shards, each one representing a different version of himself. He saw every decision he had ever made, every path not taken, every life unlived. He was both the hero and the villain of his own story, the lover and the betrayer, the creator and the destroyer. But this was no simple vision or hallucination. As each shard of himself played out its story, Theo felt it, lived it. He experienced lifetimes in mere moments, existing simultaneously as a monk in ancient Tibet, a soldier in a futuristic war, a child lost in the chaos of a crumbling society. Each life left an indelible mark on his soul, reshaping him from within. And then, Just as suddenly as it began, it was over. Theo found himself back in his apartment, gasping for breath, drenched in sweat. But something was different. The world around him seemed sharper, more vibrant, as if reality itself had been fine tuned. He felt connected to everything: the trees outside his window, the stars in the sky, the people walking the streets below. It wasn't just a fleeting sense of unity, it was a deep, visceral knowledge that he was part of something much larger than himself, a single thread of the vast tapestry of existence. But the most profound change was within him. Theo was no longer the man he had been just hours before. He had been unmade and remade, transformed by the Chrysalis compound. The knowledge and experiences of countless lifetimes now resided within him, each one a seed of wisdom waiting to blossom. In the days that followed, Theo found that he could access this knowledge at will. He could solve complex problems with ease, navigate social interactions with an almost supernatural intuition, and even glimpse fragments of the future. But with this newfound power came a burden: the understanding that his choices now had far reaching consequences, not just for himself, but for the entire web of existence. As word of Chrysalis spread, Theo wasn't alone in his transformation. Others began to emerge, men and women who had taken the compound and been forever changed. Some became visionaries, prophets of a new age. Others lost themselves in the labyrinth of their own minds, unable to reconcile their former selves with the beings they had become. But for Theo, the path was clear. He had glimpsed the underlying structure of reality, seen the interconnectedness of all things, and he knew that the next step in human evolution wasn't just about transcending physical limitations. It was about becoming the architects of our own destiny, consciously shaping the reality we inhabit. As Theo stood on the edge of this new frontier, he felt a deep sense of peace. The void that had once consumed him was gone, replaced by a burning sense of purpose. He was no longer a man searching for meaning in a meaningless world. He was a chrysalis, ready to emerge as something more. And this was only the beginning. Chapter 2: Echoes in the Quantum Stream. The architects whisper in the dark, but their intentions remain shrouded in mystery. The transformations triggered by Chrysalis were just beginning to ripple through society, but the true depth of the compound's impact was still unknown. Theo, now a beacon of insight and purpose, began to notice subtle shifts in the fabric of reality around him. It wasn't just his perception that had changed. The very world itself seemed to be responding, adapting, evolving, and he wasn't the only one who could sense it. 2 weeks after his metamorphosis, Theo found himself drawn to an anonymous message that had appeared on his screen, seemingly out of nowhere. The message was composed of cryptic symbols, shifting patterns that seemed to whisper truths hidden in plain sight. At the bottom of the message, a single phrase appeared: "Follow the quantum stream." Without hesitation, Theo set out on a journey that would take him far beyond the familiar confines of his apartment. Following the clues embedded in the message, he traveled to an abandoned research facility on the outskirts of the city. The building was in disrepair, long forgotten by those who once sought to unlock the secrets of the universe within its walls. But something alive pulsed beneath its decaying surface, a resonance that Theo could feel in his bones. Inside, Theo found a group of people who had also taken Chrysalis, individuals who, like him, had been remade by the compound. They were scientists, artists, philosophers, and even former politicians, all united by a shared sense of purpose. They called themselves the Echoes, and they had gathered here to explore the true nature of the Chrysalis experience. Leading the group was Dr. Marin Halstead, a former quantum physicist who had been one of the first to discover Chrysalis' existence. She welcomed Theo with a knowing smile, as if she had been expecting him all along. "We've been waiting for you," she said, her voice filled with both warmth and gravity. The Chrysalis compound didn't just change us, it's changing everything. The boundaries between consciousness and reality are dissolving, and we're at the center of it. But this isn't just about us, it's about the future of humanity. Theo looked around the room, taking in the faces of the other echoes. They all bore the same intensity in their eyes, the same sense of something vast and unknowable lurking just beyond their reach. "What do we do now?" Theo asked, feeling the weight of the question. Dr. Halstead's smile faded, replaced by a look of determination. "We follow the quantum stream. Chrysalis didn't just open our minds, it opened a gateway to a new layer of reality. We're standing at the threshold of the quantum realm, a place where consciousness and matter are one and the same. But there's more to it than that. We've discovered that this realm isn't empty, it's alive, teeming with entities that exist outside of our normal perception, and they've been waiting for us." Theo felt a shiver run down his spine. "Entities? What kind of entities?" Dr. Halstead gestured towards a large complex machine in the corner of the room, its intricate circuitry humming with a low, almost melodic vibration. "We call them the architects. They're beings of pure consciousness existing within the quantum stream. We believe they're the ones who seeded the knowledge of Chrysalis into our world, guiding us towards our next evolutionary step. But their intentions are still unclear. They could be benevolent or something else entirely." As Theo approached the machine, he could feel the presence of the architects, faint whispers at the edges of his mind, brushing against his thoughts like shadows on the wind. He realized that this was only the beginning of a much larger journey, one that would take him deeper into the mysteries of the quantum realm and beyond. Dr. Halstead's voice cut through the fog of his thoughts. "We need to understand the architects, Theo. We need to know why they're here and what they want. If we can communicate with them, we might be able to unlock the full potential of Chrysalis and change the course of human history forever." Theo nodded, his resolve solidifying. He knew that this was his purpose, the reason he had been drawn to Chrysalis in the first place. But as he prepared to step into the unknown, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were all standing on the precipice of something much larger than themselves, something that could either elevate humanity to new heights or bring about its downfall. And so, with the other echoes at his side, Theo took his first step into the quantum stream, ready to confront the architects and discover the truth that lay hidden within the fabric of reality itself. But in the quantum realm, nothing is ever as it seems. The path ahead would be fraught with challenges, twists, and revelations that would test the very limits of human understanding. And as the echoes ventured deeper into the unknown, they would soon realize that the true nature of the Chrysalis compound was far more complex and far more dangerous than they had ever imagined.